Hey guys, welcome to another episode of C programming tutorial. My name is Raja and in this video we're going to be learning about variables and data types. So let's get started. So in programming what you have to do is we have to store some kind of values inside computer's memory, and we have to process those values, and we may store the result again, or we may print the result or do whatever we want with that. So we had to store different kinds of values inside the memory of the computer again and again and again, and you have to process those data that has been stored. So in order to do those things easily, we have the concept of variables. So variables just hold a value. So we can put a value inside a variable, and then whenever we just add a value to the variable, that value gets added to the value of that variable. I probably made it a bit confusing. So let's take a look at some examples and see what I'm going to talk about. So suppose I have a value 5 that I want to store inside the memory of my computer. So all I have to do is I have to create a variable inside which I am going to store this value 5. So let's call this variable var, and inside that I'm going to put the value 5. So this equal sign means I'm putting this value 5 inside this var. So var is equal to 5 now, and we have to end this statement by writing a semicolon. Okay, now by only doing this we are not gonna do it correctly. We also have to specify one more thing. We also have to specify the data type of the variable. Now what is data type? Data type is the type of data that we are allowed to store inside this variable. As an example, suppose I want to store an integer variable inside this var. Since I'm storing 5 inside this variable, since 5 is an integer, so I have to tell the compiler that var is an integer type of variable. Okay, so that its data type is an integer, and we do this by writing int in front of var. So now it means that I am creating an integer variable which is named var, and inside that I am putting this value 5. So now I can do whatever operations I want to do with that value. So suppose I want to increment the value of var. I can easily do that by writing var equals var plus 1. So that means I am adding 1 to the value of the var. That means if the value of the var was 5, now adding 5 plus 1, that is 6. And again I'm storing that value, that is 6, to var. So now I can do whatever operations I want with this. So now there are some more data types. We're going to learn some of them here. Suppose we want to store a variable with a float value. That means it has a decimal point. Suppose I want to store 5.5. We cannot store this inside an integer, because if we do that, then we cannot store the float part of this, or the decimal part of this value. So we have to create a special type of variable called float. So inside float we can store variables which has a decimal point. Okay, so another type of variable is char, or char you can say. Char is the short form of character. So inside this kind of variables we can store a single character like A, B, C, D, or whatever. And whenever you are storing characters, you have to put single quotation marks. So within this single quotation marks, I can write A. So now A is stored inside this variable char. There are some more kinds of data types. There is something called double, which is like var, but it is bigger. So we can store more big, or we can store bigger variables or bigger values inside this double. Okay, so this is the basic types of data types. This is the basic variables and data types that you're gonna need in C programming. So I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed this video. So in the next video we're gonna learn some more things. So thanks for watching.